It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you so much for joining us. The biggest game in the state of Michigan on the Gridiron this week is right here in West Bloomfield. Friday night at West Bloomfield High School as your 5-1 Lakers take on the visiting 5-1 Clarkston Wolves. The winner of this game takes home the spoils, the OAA Red Division title. A win for the Lakers is a share of the title alongside the visiting Wolves. If Clarkston wins, they take it all themselves. I unpacked a very big game coming up on Friday with head coach Zach Hilbers earlier this week on This Week in Laker Football, where we talked about the rivalry with Clarkston bouncing back after losing on homecoming night last week at Oxford, coming back for homecoming week this weekend at West Bloomfield High School, as well as what it would mean to this team to take home a share of the OAA Red Division title.
You don't have to do too much to get the kids excited to play Clarkston. They usually, the name on the jersey and the schedule speaks for itself. But, there's an added thing this year. We fell last week when it was a little bit of a disappointment. But, we still have a chance, like you said, to share the league title with winning the head-to-head matchup, which is a pretty big deal. It's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, Clarkston consistently been a top 5 team in the state this season. Lakers, similar position as well, top 15, top 20 throughout the year. A win for either of these teams puts them in the driver's seat for a really good spot come playoff time. Coming off of last week, hard-fought matchup for your team in Oxford, a lot of good, some bad to adjust coming out of that. Clarkston, on the other hand, you look at their last 3 weeks, it seems like they're really hitting their stride, and they had a pretty emphatic win last week on the road at Lake Orion. As you prepare for them this week, what's been jumping off the page for you, especially those last few weeks, seeing them sort of reach near or at their peak in 2025?
Yeah, it certainly looked pretty good. They're playing pretty confident, both sides of the ball. They got some experience on both sides of the ball. They got some really good players that I think are really flying around. The twin brothers run really hard. They tackle well on defense. Quarterback's pretty good. O-line looks like they've gotten better each week. So, yeah, they're definitely a unique challenge.
Last week's quarterback matchup, very tough for West Bloomfield going up against Jack Hendricks. Alex Wazenko's been another one of those guys the last couple of years that's given not just the Lakers, but pretty much every team he's gone up against a lot of trouble. Last week, multiple touchdowns, 55-yarder, another that was over 30 yards, and a couple 16-yard touchdowns. Just how dangerous of a quarterback are you facing this week?
Oh, he's really good. Really good athlete, too. I don't know if it shows as much, but he can run. He's both as a scrambler, extending plays, and quarterback-designed runs. I thought he was pretty good as a sophomore. He's definitely playing a little bit more confident this year, and he trusts the guys around him, trusts the system, and he's pretty dangerous.
Guys like Childs and with the Bowman brothers, too, much like Oxford last week, they've got a lot of different options they can go to on that offensive side, guys they can focus in on that are multi-skilled. So from a defensive standpoint, how does Coach Jones, the rest of your staff, and of course the players prepare for that level of variety that Clarkston can and does bring week in and week out?
Yeah, I guess they're kind of similar to us in that regard, where they get the ball to multiple people and let different people kind of try to attack you different ways, and they give you a ton of formations and different looks and motions and stuff. But it comes down to you have to, match their physicality and I guess supersede their physicality if you want to beat them. You can't sit there and be passive. You got to be an attacking defense because they'll certainly attack you.
Their defense also is a killer. 2 out of the last 3 weeks, they've allowed 1 or no scores whatsoever, including only allowing 7 against Rochester Adams. Very, very big accomplishment. You guys only allowed 6, but it was a tough go to even get to that point. What do these last 3 weeks and those matchups that Clarkston's had say about just how strong their defense has become as they hit midseason and surpass it?
Yeah, they really fly around on the defensive side of the ball. They're pretty aggressive, sometimes to a fault, but more often than not, that aggression and I guess their physicality kind of puts you in a tough spot. They are out there and they're looking to kind of blow people up, I guess, like in the football legal way that you can do that. So I think with that, they're playing, like I said, pretty confidently, and the results have kind of shown that.
And this is the time of the year where you look at these matchups not only as being an excellent challenge for your team, and certainly the bragging rights of a shared OAA Red title play a factor motivationally, but as you're getting toward the final weeks of the season and you know you're going to be playing extra football in in playoff time, what do these weeks then do for your team to get ready for that next step that comes just a few weeks away now when it is do or die?
Yeah, you're right. It's a good question. I think I guess every game on the schedule thus far has kind of been a playoff lesson. So like last week, we were in a game, had probably every chance to win it, and we didn't. So if you learn from that now, you can hopefully fix some of those things by the time you're in the playoffs. But if you have a playoff game like that, obviously your season's over. So I think the schedule, although it's a grind and it's brutal, it does prepare you pretty well. Just the nature of every single week, you have to take it so seriously and really kind of dive into your opponent and try your best to scheme and game plan because, every week's basically a playoff game.
When you have a team like you have this year that's a mixture of youth and veteran players, the veteran guys have been here and done that. They've seen wins, they've seen losses, big games, big disappointments, but the way that the season's gone so far and the matchup that you have ahead, coming off of a loss like last week, in that locker room, in those meetings, is there a different vibe, a different focus, a different energy trying to avenge that loss last week, right the ship, and simultaneously pick up what would arguably be the biggest win of the season this week?
I guess this week will kind of tell how we practice and everything, but I think the focus has been pretty good, at least today, to start the week. And the meetings last night, the kids have said the right things, have been where they're supposed to. So, if the next couple days go like I think they will, maybe, last week's a refocusing game and we get back to playing really good football.
Clarkston coming in on Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff, homecoming night at West Bloomfield High School. Going to have all eyes from across the state right here at the Swamp, the biggest game in the state of Michigan. Will also be broadcast on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Visit our website, civiccentertv.com/Lakersports for all of that information and to watch the game on Friday if you can't make it out to the Swamp. Last week we saw an incredible environment at Oxford on their homecoming night. There's not necessarily as significant of a home field advantage that you feel at the high school game. We've talked about this multiple times, but if you have the homecoming game this week, the matchup that's going to be, how much does an environment that's a packed house, that brings that additional energy from Laker faithful play into for both the players and really just overall the vibe of that game when you have a moment like this on Friday night?
Yeah, it definitely helps. There's always like a buzz, which I'm sure you could feel Friday night up in Oxford if you were there, And the kids, they kind of feed off of that and the energy that the crowd has and I guess the atmosphere brings. But when it's all said and done, we always talk about controlling what you can control, and all that stuff's external. So if we do our job internally on the field and as individuals and as a group, we got a really good chance. But you're right, it definitely makes a difference to have that, the event and the week leading up to it.
There are two things on Friday night that will make your team be in the best position possible to beat the Clarkston Wolves and pick up that huge win and a share of the OAA Red Division title. If you had to pick what those two things are, what are they?
It's simple, but it's always what I'm going to say when it comes to anything football related. It's blocking and tackling. So if we can do a good job blocking, it'll lead to good runs. And if we can tackle their guys, that means, we're in the right spot. So blocking and tackling usually, that determines the winner in these games.
The West Bloomfield Lakers taking on Clarkston on Friday night, 7 p.m. kickoff at West Bloomfield High School. It is the homecoming game. It's going to be the biggest game of the year at the Swamp and certainly the biggest game of the week here in the MHSAA. And Division I, Clarkston currently ranked number 7 at 5-1 overall and undefeated in the OAA Red Division. After just a 1-point loss last week, West Bloomfield continues to not yet be in the Division I top 10 coaches poll in the MHSAA. Looking to right that wrong this week, upset number 7 Clarkston and put themselves square in those rankings. Lots of playoff points on the line this week. Big implications in and outside of the OAA Red Division. Make sure you're tuned in to the game right here. The only place you'll be able to watch it live is on Civic Center TV and listen on 89.3 Lakes FM. Follow the team all season long on civiccentertv.com/Lakersports. October is the perfect month to invite a new member into your family, especially if you're looking to add a pet, as October is National Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and organizations such as the Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center are looking to make sure that these dogs that they have in their facility make it into loving homes as soon as possible. Here with more information on the Adoption Center and their efforts during the month of October is Joni Toole, the chief of the Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center. Joni, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having us. I'm actually coming to you from Kitty City. Let's not leave the kitties out of this.
Yeah, definitely. All the traditional pets that we see in our homes are in a similar position to our dogs in the month of October and all throughout the year, looking for loving homes to hopefully be for the remainder of their lives. And that's the key part of this, is not only do we want these pets to get adopted, we want them to go into homes where they're going to be for the remainder of their lives and be in loving and comfortable situations. So as we try to get these dogs and cats and other animals adopted, what sort of homes are the best situations for these animals to get adopted into?
Well, I always say do your research. You got to find the pet that is right for your lifestyle. If you're a couch potato, then you definitely don't want to get like a husky or a terrier. Those are high energy dogs. So you'd want something more maybe like a French bulldog or something to that effect. But you got to really do your research. And I know a lot of us go off of looks, but it's best for you and best for the animal if you do your research and find out what's going to fit into your lifestyle. And of course, cats are a good opportunity as well because they are low maintenance. You can be a couch potato all you want. They'll sit right there with you.
And let's unpack that a little further, doing your research. We hear that often when we talk to animal adoption organizations, whether it's your adoption center and the animal shelter through Oakland County or other nonprofit organizations in the local area. What should that research consist of?
Well, first, you probably want to go by your looks. I know everybody loves, I'll do the Huskies again, because they're gorgeous dogs. They're beautiful dogs. But if you're not an active person or if you're not home a lot, what's going to happen is that dog is going to try to find ways to get out their energy, whether it's chewing on your bed or chewing on your couch or trying to escape and running down the road. So your best place to start is the internet. Maybe pick a breed that looks pleasing to you, and then do a little deep dive on that and see what their personality is. See what it takes for them to have a happy, healthy life. Little terriers, the same thing. They require a lot of energy. They need their brain to be working, and if you're not going to give that to them, then what's going to come out of that is chewed up things, and you're feeling frustrated and they're feeling frustrated. And so we don't want to get to that point. We want to make sure that we match up the best pet for you and your family.
And so as people are doing that research, often, Joni, as you mentioned, they're thinking about all the reasons to consider this breed of dog versus that breed, or whether a dog or a cat or another animal is the right fit for my home. But they should also be considering what could be some of the negatives of bringing an animal into their home that could ultimately bring them to a point where they adopt an animal now, and a few months, a few years later, they're ending up abandoning those animals back to your shelter or another one. So let's break it a little bit into the common reasons why we see these animals then go back into the process to be rehomed later on, and how that should also factor in to that research for potential adoptees.
Well, adopting a pet should never be an impulse. It's something that you really need to think about. And a lot of people, they fall in love with this cute little fuzzy little furry thing, and then they get it home and it goes to the bathroom on the floor, and then you start to get frustrated because you're trying to potty train it. It's not going very well. And then pretty soon when they get a little bit older and they have, they're kind of like teenagers. They're going to talk back to you. They're going to sometimes we see that coming out in aggressive behavior. So people aren't putting in the time or effort to train their pets. And that's an important part of it. These pets want, especially dogs, not cats, but dogs, they want a job to do. They want to please you. They need to have that stimulation. And if you're not going to give that to them, like I said, it's going to come out in negative ways. So you'll really want to take a look at that. And another thing you want to take a look at as well is, plan your pet into your future. If something should happen to you, where would that pet go? You need to make those arrangements before that kind of thing happens. We see that a lot. It's very, very sad. The owner passes away, and then we get a dog because no one in the family can take it and take care of it. And it's so sad. But you really need to start to think about stuff like that. It's not just, let's go get this cute little fuzzy little thing and play with it. But you got to remember that it's a living, breathing thing, and it needs to be taken care of whether you're there or not.
Joni Toole is with us from the Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center. October is National Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and they are helping to bring those efforts forward to bring dogs in our local area into loving forever homes in Greater West Bloomfield and beyond. Few places you can go for more information. oakgov.com, the Oakland County main website. You scroll over their community tab. On the right side, you'll see a section for pet adoption. All the details you need on cats found, dogs found, the Animal Control Center, the Pet Adoption Center also. We can go through dogs and cats and some of the considerations and resources that you'll need to make this very important decision for you and these animals. You can also find them on social media. Instagram at oak_PAC and on Facebook at oakgov.op. Joni, we want to make the process easy for people when they have gone through all those considerations, and now they want to bring one of these dogs, one of these cats, or other animals from the Oakland County Animal Shelter into their home. How does the animal shelter make this process easier for those looking to adopt?
Well, we want to match the perfect pet up to your family. So if you are a family, bring your family. The animal should meet everyone and see how they react. If you have young kids and you're going to introduce a big, clumsy dog, you might want to think twice about that. Not that the dog is going to intentionally hurt young children, but because they're big and clumsy, they might knock a child over. So we like to have the whole family come in and meet the animal and see if it's going to fit within their needs. Now, a lot of our pets, we don't have a lot of background on. They're mostly stray, but we try to gather as much information when they're here at the shelter to fit them to the perfect home. Sometimes we don't always get it right, and sometimes animals act differently in a shelter situation than they do in a home situation. And the other thing is, when you do bring your pet home, you want to make sure that you are very consistent within the first month or two. That goes for potty training, feeding times. Everything is well coordinated. Just like a child, they like consistency. They get used to that. So that's a very important thing to do there. And then training. They need training. They need to know that you're looking out for them and that you know what's best for them. So a lot of training should go into a new pet as well.
And one of the concerns upon adopting a pet is making sure that not only they're a good fit for your home, but they're coming in healthy as well. How does the Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center help to ensure that these animals that are perhaps having a history of being strays, being abandoned either by their natural pet parents or their previous owners, are coming into their hopefully forever homes fully healthy and ready to join those families?
Well, we have a full vet staff here and a full clinic facility here. The pet that you adopt from us is going to be up to date on their vaccinations. They're going to be up to date on their parasite control, which is fleas and worms and ticks and those things. And then they're also going to be spayed and neutered before they leave the shelter. So we're giving you a great start of a healthy pet. But again, like I said, we don't know a lot of the background of the animals. We can try and figure out medically everything that's going on underneath the surface. But sometimes it's hard to flesh that out in the shelter situation. So you'll want to follow up with a vet as soon as possible. But everything is done before the pet leaves the shelter with you, and you just want to follow up and keep following up with your veterinarian.
Always a good idea. Joni Toole is with us from the Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center. October is National Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and they are participating over at the Oakland County Animal Shelter. You can participate as well. Consider bringing some of these animals into your home and creating loving environments for them to live out the remainder of their lives. But Joni, some people don't have the right situation at home to be bringing these animals into. Maybe they live in apartments that don't allow dogs or only allow a certain number of pets. They have cats and they love dogs, but they can't have both of them at the same time because it puts them over the limit. Maybe someone in the family is allergic and they can't have them in the home. There are other ways that they can still get involved with the Oakland County Animal Shelter. How can they do that?
Oh, definitely. If you're an animal lover, volunteering at the shelter, we always need volunteers, either to walk the dogs or to come even sit in Kitty City here like I'm doing today. A lot of people will just come in here and read a book. You never know what that human interaction does for that animal. And we also have a lot of enrichment that even if you don't want to touch the animals, you can help us put together enrichment packets like peanut butter and Kongs and those types of things that we give out to the animals here to keep them happy and healthy. So there's lots of ways that you can definitely help the shelter. You can also, if you've got old linens at home, you can donate those. If you want to take it even further and go to our wish list, our Amazon wish list, and donate from there. And then we also do take in monetary donations. And those donations are used to help the animals here at the shelter if they're ill or they're injured. And we just cannot do that surgery or that procedure here at the shelter. We will send them out to local vets, and we use that money to help those animals so they can get better and we can find them a new loving home.
And Joni, lastly, if people have heard all this, they've maybe have already been making some considerations, and now they want to go forward and start the adoption process, where can they do that? What are those first steps they can take to get in contact with your team and consider some of the animals in the Oakland County Pet Adoption Center?
Well, they can certainly come down to the shelter anytime that we're open. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're open late on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're open till 7 p.m. And then we're open on Saturdays from 10 until 4. So, come down, check us out, see what we have here as far as pets. And if you don't find the perfect pet the first time, don't get discouraged because they are always coming through our doors. Our inventory changes daily. So don't just settle on something that you found because you want that pet. Go ahead, take your time. Like I said, our inventory is always changing.
Kittens like Roscoe, dogs like Bow Wowzer, and so many more at the Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center are looking for homes right now. oakgov.com. Scroll over their community section on the right side. You'll see pet adoption to learn even more information and start that process. Joni, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate it. More information also available on their social media. Follow them on Instagram. Their handle is at oak_PAC, OAK_PAC. You can also follow them on Facebook at oakgov.opac, oakgov.opac, or search Oakland County Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center on Facebook for even more information. October is National ADHD Awareness Month and brings to light many kids in our community and even adults who are affected by ADHD in their work, in their school, in their social life, and so many other ways. While there's many common misconceptions about what ADHD is and how it manifests in day-to-day life, this is the month where we take time to investigate further and understand just how it does affect people in Greater West Bloomfield, how we can help them in everyday life, make their experience a little more comfortable, and of course understand what they're going through as well. Joining me with more information is Dr. Barry Jay from the Center for Integrated Psychology, where he serves as their director. Dr. Jay, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Glad to have you on to talk about this ADHD. Lots of common misconceptions about it. People have their assumptions like they do many other neurological or psychological conditions that affect people commonly in our society. Could you briefly explain what ADHD is and how it affects both children and adults in communities like ours?
ADHD is most evident in little kids who are hyperactive. They're disruptive, they don't listen, and that the problem is a brain problem, particularly in the frontal lobe. That's the area of the brain that we concentrate, organize, prioritize, and this area is not working well in these kids. In fact, 60% of all 4-year-old children meet the criteria for ADHD. As children mature, their brains mature, that number begins to change. So statistics suggest that 1 in 6 children in America have ADD. And in adults, 4 to 5% of the general population do.
And so, Dr. Jay, we've in the past heard some differences. We've heard some people with ADD or some people with ADHD. Some have even said maybe it's true, maybe it's not, that they're sort of an interchangeable and diagnosis. Is there a difference? Are these now sort of lumped together?
It's a brain thing, and they manifest differently. So with adults, people have the same hard time focusing because of the problem in the frontal lobe and controlling their impulses and paying attention, so that by supporting the brain, particularly the frontal lobe, and making it work better, people aren't troubled by the symptoms of ADD. So that if you have these issues, your world can feel chaotic, that it's hard to stay focused and complete tasks, and you have a number of failures in your life, that you're forgetful about things and don't finish tasks. And that in terms of relationships, your life can be an emotional roller coaster. And so those are the things, the way that ADD shows up in adults, and are some of the reasons why it needs to be attended to.
And so there's a lot of misconceptions, too, about ADHD or ADD, both consistently, about how it affects people, both children and adults. What are some of those common misconceptions that we may encounter in everyday society that those that aren't affected by ADD or ADHD may not be aware of or may even believe themselves?
That people are bad and they're responsible for what they're doing and they need to be punished or ostracized. Those are some of the big problems with ADD. And that people, including adults, have to get a grip on their own symptom picture, and that they can do that by supporting their brain, by eating the right food, getting enough sleep, by identifying it, knowing what's going on, and through treatment techniques. One of the treatments that we do here at the Center for Integrative Psychology is neuromodulation. We have electrodes we can put on the head and send stimulation into the brain to the areas that need support, to help those areas function better, so that it's easier then for that individual to pay attention, complete tasks, control their impulses, and learn to relate more easily with other people in the world.
And then for parents and for adults alike, if they suspect that they may have ADHD or maybe they're displaying some of the symptoms, how much does early intervention and getting those treatments started play into the outcomes from that treatment being effective, especially for kids, as I would imagine when they're younger, if they get that treatment started early on, it will have a more consistent outcome as they get into the further parts of their development.
As I mentioned before, 60% of 4-year-olds meet criteria for ADD, but as their brains mature, the problems that they have because of it are less. I think that's true for everyone, that we all need our brains to work properly, and when we do, our life will have less problems in it. That includes school, relationships, our jobs.
And then for parents, if they do notice these symptoms, educators alike, individuals alike, what are the first steps that they should take to either seek diagnosis and or seek some of those treatment methods that you've already mentioned can be so effective in helping people live with ADHD, treat their ADHD, and overcome some of those symptoms that may hamper them in day-to-day life?
To find a psychologist or a mental health worker who can help you identify is there ADHD. They'll likely give you a quiz rating your child, and then from the results of the quiz, start giving you suggestions about how you can help that person's brain to mature.
More information can be found on brainoptimizationmi.com. That is the website for the Center for Integrative Psychology, where their director, Dr. Barry J., joins us on the Splash Live today to talk about ADHD as we are in ADHD Awareness Month. Dr. J., before we let you go, what message do you have for the public during this month, especially for those that may be struggling with ADHD or those that may misunderstand what this is all about getting this information out to the public so that they better understand what ADHD actually is, how it's treated, and how it affects people in our community every day?
When I was a kid, people were ashamed of going to a therapist. It meant that there was something wrong with your brain, that you were wacko. I am very pleased to see a shift in our society of acceptance for mental health work, and to realize its importance and how much it can shift things in our children's lives and in our lives. So I say pursue finding someone that can help you, someone that you feel comfortable relating to, who's knowledgeable. It can help guide you in this process. It can make it better.
The Center for Integrative Psychology is located in West Bloomfield with service areas in Birmingham, Farmington Hills, Walled Lake, and Southfield. Joining us on the show today is Dr. Barry J., the director of the Center for Integrative Psychology. Dr. J., thank you so much for joining us today on the Splash Live to tell us more.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Once again, their website, brainoptimizationmi.com. That's brainoptimizationmi.com, or call them 248-626-8889, 248-626-8889. The weather is cooling, the leaves are falling, and Greater West Bloomfield is becoming a work of autumn art. Now you can experience the sights and sounds of fall close to home with West Bloomfield Park's hay rides, but tickets are going really, really fast. Lauren Azuri from West Bloomfield Parks joined our team's Jake Schaff recently to discuss this autumn adventure.
Lauren, great to have you with us this morning.
Hi, Jake. Thanks for having me. Always love to share fall fun in our community.
Of course, and fall fun is definitely everywhere you look all throughout Greater West Bloomfield right now. What inspired the creation of the group Hayrides event, and how long has this been going on?
Well, hayrides probably for centuries, but the group hayrides with this unique private experience, kind of a little elevated VIP for your special group, was actually inspired by COVID. So we didn't want to get rid of the beloved hayrides and the special connections and ways to tour the park in the fall colors when we weren't allowed to all be close together. So this was originally intended for your small social group. And a lot of hard things came out of COVID, but a lot of great creativity and ideas came out of COVID. And some have evolved along the way, but we've kept some of them, and the group hay rides was one of them. So it was a way to keep your social circle together and a way to still gather on the outdoors and enjoy nature together for your mental health. And so we're continuing them. They've been very, very popular. We have 3 dates that are almost all sold out, but it is intended for your special group.
Awesome. So that's a very important note for everyone watching, that the spots are filling up fast. So if you want to be involved with this, you should act quickly. But there's so much to take away with these events, and there's fun nature stops along the hayride that also provide some educational opportunities as well. How do you design the route for the hayrides and choose the nature stops along the way?
Yeah, it's we try to mix it up every year because we do have families or groups that make this a tradition, and so we want them to learn something new or want to return the following year. So it does take a little creativity. It's definitely teamwork between our park staff, who helps us decide what are good, safe routes that we can drive the hay wagon on, but still get great views of nature, as well as the creativity of our naturalist staff, who come up with the different nature like games and activities and things to play based on maybe like what you see behind you in the hay wagon. So we try to use, nature as our guide. So of course we talk about fall colors. We have bat houses in our parks. We like to highlight those species that people might not always love, but they should know how great they really are. So we try to highlight different things every year. We also make sure that our nature stops are interactive. So often there's a little game element, or you get to get up from the wagon and run around, or like a little scavenger hunt. Something to keep you on your toes and keep you engaged with nature instead of just bumping along. So we always like to sneak in those nature education stops when we can.
I love it, providing something for people to learn something along the way. Now, as I mentioned, this event is open for just about all ages. How do you ensure that this experience is enjoyable for a wide age range, whether you're a toddler or you're an adult?
Absolutely. Well, we have a pretty talented nature staff. Caitlin and David, our naturalists, are really good at adapting. So if your group is a wide range of ages, we obviously can cater to that. But if you have a lot of little friends, we might sing some silly songs and engage them in different ways than we would if it was a full adult group. We've had adult clubs from the community come, and obviously we maybe will quiz them or change the trivia up and make it harder for an adult group versus a family group or a young age group. So we have a lot of knowledge hidden in our back pocket, so we do adjust based on ages of the groups.
Awesome. Like to hear how you're planning this for all sorts of different ages. Now, I am curious, because you did just talk about the rest of the team and the guides as well for these hay rides. What kind of training or preparation do your guides receive before leading a group hay ride like this one?
Yeah, so our hayride drivers, our park staff, are the ones that drive the hayrides and get the wagon all prepared. So they do all the safety checks on all of those kinds of equipment on their regular basis. They have our safety checklists, and they practice the route once or twice. If we use the same route as last year, we still like to check the route because we want to make sure that there's no obstructions or nature changes. So we want to make sure that that's safe and that our route is good. There's currently construction in certain parts of Marshbank Park for our improvement projects, so we have to keep that in mind as well. So that's a safety factor, but also we give reminders before we take off, so we make sure that everyone knows to remain seated when we're moving and things like that. But as far as training and knowledge, we actually are lucky enough that we get to spend a fair amount of time in our parks. So we see the changing seasons. If there's something we see that we don't know about, we do some research. So if there's a plant we haven't been familiar with, we make sure we look that up or contact our other naturalist resources to find out what they are, so that if we do get a question that we might not have known, we can answer it for you. But also, all of our naturalists have backgrounds in biology or fisheries and wildlife, degrees like that. So we all have base knowledge in anything happening out in Michigan wilderness right now.
Glad to know that you guys are prepared and ready. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with park naturalist Lauren Azuri from West Bloomfield Parks, talking about the group fall hay rides that are going to be taking place throughout the month of October on October 10th, 16th, and 17th at Marshbank Park. Now, Lauren, of course, when we're talking about Michigan events that take place outside, we always have to worry about the weather. How do you handle inclement weather or safety concerns on the day of the hay rides?
Great question, and something we always, as outdoor event planners, have to keep in mind, of course. So we are a parks department, so we actually do encourage people to be outside unless it's unsafe. So the only reason we would cancel is in the event of thunder and lightning, so a large storm. But we have ran hay rides before in light rain. We have big umbrellas that we can share with you. And then the group hay rides, as part of their package, also receive these blankets as part of it for a few members of their group to share. And so they're little travel blankets. So if it's cold out, you can use that to cozy yourself up. If it's raining, you can use to cover up that way. So we do go out in light rain, but not in thunder and lightning. So we usually always have plan A, which is we're hoping for beautiful fall sunny weather. And depending on the time of your hayride, some great sunsets in the park. But then we also have plan B for light rain. And of course, plan C would be not the favorite, but we would have to cancel it if there was thunder and lightning.
I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have it all the way up to plan Z, but you guys are prepared for everything. A couple more questions before we wrap things up, Lauren. Do you have plans for expanding or evolving this event maybe in the next few years with new themes, longer rides, and maybe some additional dates?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have, along with the group hay rides, we've now, since last year, reintroduced what we call our community hay rides. So that's if you don't have a group that you want to go with and you just have one or two people, you can join up with other members in the community that you might not know and enjoy the hay ride then. So we have now adapted to have this hybrid version of what we used to offer. So we used to offer just community hay rides with people in the community that would come together and meet each other, didn't know each other. Then during COVID, we adapted to the group hay rides. And then knowing that that's a kind of a niche for certain groups, we reintroduced the community hay rides. So those are currently sold out this year, but we hope that many can join us. So given the popularity of community hay rides this year, we will probably introduce more of those next year. So we always follow those attendance trends in the community and try to accommodate when we can. So definitely adding more community hay rides. And of course, we always change our nature stops so that you can learn something new every year. So it'll be a new animal or a new game or a new section of the park to stop in and view.
Awesome. Something new every time. I love it. Lauren, where can people go to gain a little bit more information about the fall hay rides that are happening very, very soon in October?
Absolutely. You can visit us on wvparks.org/group hayrides. All the dates are available there. Right now, we have some options available for our group hayride time slots on Friday, October 10th, but the other dates are sold out. So we hope a few of you can join us with your community group together on October 10th.
Awesome. October 10th is the day of the first fall hayride. Hope to see a lot of people from Greater West Bloomfield out there. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Jake, thanks for having me, and thanks all for your interest in learning more about nature in all different creative ways like our hayrides.
Can't stress it enough. Those tickets are going to go fast. As Lauren had said in that segment, the only time they have available are the times on Friday, October 10th, to get on those hay rides. So take a look at those times. I'd suggest you give enough time for yourself to either get over to West Bloomfield High School after that or get home to watch the big football game on Friday night. But before you do that, a great warm-up to that is to go on one of these hay rides with West Bloomfield Parks. Great way to see some of the fall scenery right here close to home in Greater West Bloomfield. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, as you consider making the change from internal combustion to electric vehicles, there may be some extra cash coming into your pocket courtesy of DTE. Stay with us for more information. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Hello, my name is Danya Bazzi. I'm the superintendent of West Bloomfield School District. I want to congratulate Civic Center TV on hitting the amazing milestone of 1 million viewers. Your involvement in our community doesn't go unnoticed. We thank you for keeping our residents and community engaged in the latest and greatest news and information. I'm Danya Bazzi, and I'm proud to be 1 in a million.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you so much for joining us, and as always, following along with all of our programming, including the Splash Live coverage from events out in the community, such as the recent Fire Department open house at Fire Station Number 1, and of course, big attractions all throughout the fall, such as West Bloomfield football, always live on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15 and on YouTube at Civic Center TV. You can also find us on X and on Instagram at Civic Center TV for even more information and all of our coverage from across Greater West Bloomfield. DTE is offering rebates for consumers here in the Greater West Bloomfield area and throughout Oakland County that are switching from internal combustion vehicles to electric vehicles, helping them get apparatus into their homes to help them charge their vehicles and make the switch to those more efficient, futuristic vehicles that plug right in at your home instead of having you go fill up with gas each and every week. Those rebates, all part of an extended program through DTE Energy. There, Milena Kabashi joined Jake Schaff recently on the Splash Live to tell us more.
Milena, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here today.
Absolutely. It's a great conversation. It's a very eco-friendly conversation. A lot of people are very, very curious about this. So I'll jump right into it. What inspired DTE Energy to launch the Home EV Charger Rebate Program, and what would you say are its main goals?
Yeah, great question. The Home EV Charger Rebate Program was inspired by our commitment to making EV ownership more accessible and affordable. Our main goals are to cover the upfront cost of installing a home EV charger for our low-income customers, and also encourage more people to switch to EVs and ultimately contributing to a cleaner and greener Michigan.
Great, and we are seeing a lot more electric vehicles on the roads, especially within the last few years. Could you walk us through how the rebate program works from application to installation?
Absolutely, and the process is quite straightforward. If you qualify as an income eligible customer, you first, as a customer, you would purchase or lease an EV and install a qualified level 2 Energy Star certified EV charger at the home. Then the customer can apply for the rebate online by providing proof of purchase and installation. Once the application is approved, the customer receives a rebate that can cover the cost of the charger and the installation. It's that simple. We also offer a home EV charger installation program that provides a free online installation quote and handles the permitting and installation process, making it even easier for our customers.
It sounds like a very easy program. And with something like this, how would you say that this program makes electric vehicle ownership more accessible for families in Greater West Bloomfield?
Yeah, for income eligible customers, by covering the upfront cost of installing home EV chargers, our program makes it easier for families to switch to electric vehicles. And this is especially important in areas like Greater West Bloomfield, where many residents are looking for ways to reduce the carbon footprint and save on fuel costs. And with a rebate, families can enjoy the benefits of EV ownership while also saving money on the cost of the EV charger and professional installation.
Interesting. Now, of course, other companies also have rebate programs, also dedicated to helping electric vehicle incentives. What would you say makes this one unique compared to some of those other programs in Michigan?
Yeah, great question. What sets our program apart is our comprehensive approach. Not only do we offer financial incentives, but we also provide educational resources and support to help customers understand the benefits of EVs. Why should they really care about EVs, and how to make the most of the new chargers and the available incentives and rebates. Additionally, our program is designed to support low-income households and renters, ensuring that we break down barriers to adoption and create more opportunities to participate in the transition to cleaner transportation.
For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Transportation Electrification Manager for DTE Energy, Milena Kabashi, talking about the DTE Energy rebate program that is currently in effect for owners and drivers of electric vehicles. Now, Milena, are there specific benefits for households that might have tighter budgets or lower income levels that are also looking to participate?
Yeah, indeed, absolutely. We understand that the initial cost of switching to an EV can be a barrier for some households. And that's why we offer additional, more robust rebates and incentives for low-income customers. In addition to the home EV charger rebate, we also provide rebates up to $14,400 per level 2 port for income-eligible multifamily properties and up to $70,000 per charger for en-route public DC fast charging in rural communities and disadvantaged communities. And so these programs really help low-income customers save money on their transportation costs by reducing the upfront costs of EVs and charging infrastructure. And by adopting EVs, customers can really benefit from lower fuel and maintenance costs compared to the traditional ICE or gasoline vehicles. Additionally, these initiatives contribute to a more sustainable environment by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And here at DTE, we also provide a lot of educational resources and outreach programs to help customers understand the benefits of EVs and how to make the most of the available resources.
I love that. I mean, especially with a program like this where you're wanting to cut back on a lot of those harmful gases that traditional cars emit. And with the rise of electric vehicles, it's good that you're making it so that everybody is able to participate in this program and that everybody can help do their part to help make the world a cleaner place. And I am curious, what has been the response? What have you seen from West Bloomfield area residents so far with this rebate program?
Yeah, I would say the response has been very positive. Looking at the historical participation from residents in West Bloomfield area, we can tell that they're very excited about the opportunity to switch to electric vehicles and take advantage of the rebates and incentives that we have available and we're offering. We've seen robust participation in a number of applications for the rebate program with about 400 residential customers participating, and we've had over 60 public charger rebates. The first commercial EV site in West Bloomfield participating in our rebate program was completed back in May of 2021, but since then we've provided rebates for about 64 public level 2 chargers, charger ports totaling roughly about 132,000 that we've been able to give back to the community in form of rebates. The largest site that we've seen participating with our commercial EV charger rebate program was for 40 level 2 chargers at a multi-unit property. We've also supported projects ranging from large hospitals, schools, along with workplace and retail locations. So definitely lots of excitement around EVs.
Sounds like it. And it sounds like this program has already made such an impact in West Bloomfield. Of course, we want to see this sustained. We want to see this in the future. So how do you see this rebate program shaping the future of local infrastructure and sustainability initiatives?
Yeah, our rebate program is really just one part of our broader efforts to promote sustainability and improve local infrastructure. By encouraging more people to switch to EVs, we are helping to decrease greenhouse emissions, and this really in turn supports the development of a cleaner and more sustainable energy grid. Additionally, the increased use of EVs will drive the need for more charging infrastructure, which will further support the growth of clean energy initiatives in the area.
I love it. And Milena, I'm curious, how would you say this program can help West Bloomfield become a leader in clean energy and EV adoption?
Yeah, by making EV ownership more accessible and affordable, our program is helping to position West Bloomfield as a leader in clean energy and EV adoption. The community's enthusiastic response to the program really demonstrates a strong commitment to sustainability, but also willingness to embrace new technologies. And as more residents switch over to EVs and take advantage of our rebates and incentives, West Bloomfield will serve as a model for other communities that are looking to promote clean energy and reduce their carbon footprint. We also provide businesses with EV charger rebates, so then they too can also participate in helping getting West Bloomfield on the charger map.
That's right. Everybody is doing their part. Once again, Milena Kabashi, the manager of transportation electrification with DTE Energy, is joining us on the Splash Live to talk about the DTE Energy electric vehicle rebate program. I got a couple more questions before we wrap things up, Milena. What advice would you give to residents who are maybe a little bit curious about switching to an EV, but maybe feel a little intimidated by the costs and by the process?
Yeah, so my advice would be take advantage of the resources that are available through our program. Start by exploring the rebates and incentives we offer. Visit our webpage, which all of these available resources can significantly reduce the upfront cost of switching to an EV. Additionally, don't hesitate to reach out to our team. We have a dedicated EV team that is ready and available for guidance and assistance. We're here to help make the transition as smooth and as affordable as possible. And remember, switching to an EV not only benefits the environment, but can also save customers money on fuel and maintenance costs in the long run. And we know that EVs and sustainability are beneficial for everyone, regardless of income level. And by adopting EVs and participating in these programs, folks can reduce their transportation costs and improve the comfort of their homes with affordable and efficient charging solutions. A couple of points I want to make here.
Of course.
EV fuel is produced in Michigan by Michiganders, which stimulates local and statewide economy. And additionally, residential customers that we've seen that are current EV owners and are able to charge at home overnight or off-peak, where the car naturally dwells in your garage, and participating with one of our DTE time-of-day rate plans are paying the e-gallon equivalent, what we're seeing on average about $1 a quarter a gallon, which allows them to save money on fuel and spend it in other ways. And lastly, widespread adoption of EVs helps to create a cleaner and more efficient energy grid, which really is benefiting the entire community.
Well, we love to see how much this program is benefiting the community, and we thank DTE Energy for providing all these great resources. You touched on it just a second ago, Milena, but real quick, where can people go to gain a little more information about this program?
Yeah, absolutely. Our residential customers can visit dteenergy.com/EVs or EV. Our business customers or commercial customers can visit dteenergy.com/EVbiz.
That's the place to go, and that's the place where you can gain more information to help make your mark in helping to make the world a cleaner place. Milena, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to seeing you drive an EV.
You that television that's close to home is always available online on civiccentertv.com and across our social media. Big thank you to our entire crew and to you, of course, for joining us on today's edition of the program. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.